All right, guys, today in the Brute Shoot, we're gonna talk about local muscle endurance training and how to apply that to CrossFit. If you guys have been doing CrossFit for a long time, and even if you're brand new to CrossFit, there's one obvious thing that you can see, right? Power output is a very high demand and or a very high priority in our sport. And the rationale behind that is that we get an opportunity to have great results based on having that high intensity. So a lot of the workouts that we have are like 18.5, where we're coupling together a squat and a press with a pull, an upper body pull. So it's a thruster with a chest to bar pull up. Or it's a benchmark workout like Diane, where it's a deadlift and a handstand push up, right? These movements complement each other in such a way that the athlete can continue to keep moving back and forth. And usually the primary limiter for athletes that are at a regional or games level is usually the breathing, okay? But a lot of times, you day-to-day CrossFitters out there, and even a regional and a games athlete, have to find ways to develop local muscle endurance in order to push through limitations in a workout. And this time of the year, specifically as we gear into the off season or the summer months of the training season in CrossFit, if there is a seasonal approach that you may take, this should be one of your focuses. And the rationale behind this is for us to develop our ability to do bigger unbroken sets of things, from a deadlift to a thruster, to a ring dip, to a ring muscle up, to a strict ring muscle up, to a chest to bar pull up, to a strict chest to bar pull up, you name it. Any functional movement that we can possibly conceive in our mind, we want to be able to improve the overall work that we can do in one set, because as we do that and we still develop our lungs and our ability to cycle these movements, we are going to end up a better and more well-rounded athlete for the 2019 workout. And when Dave announces 19.1, you'll feel a little bit more prepared in at least what local muscle endurance might be asked of you in that test. So how do we do that? Most of you probably know how to train local muscle endurance if you've been in the Gold's Gym or the bodybuilder type gym atmosphere or Vasa Fitness or wherever it is that you train, by seeing like drop sets. You ever heard of a drop set? It's where you start at a heavier weight, you do a certain amount of reps, often to failure, and then you strip weight off the bar, and then you go again, and then you strip weight off the bar, and then you go again. Unfortunately, this hurts really bad, but the results are really high, right? You're going to get great physique results, but also you're going to build a ton of work capacity. And the rationale is that you don't have to stop working and wait. You can continue to streamline blood through that muscle group. You can continue to tear and break it down and still execute the movement as prescribed or with good form. In CrossFit, it's not just bicep curls and skull crushers and bench press. Although those things are great, add them into your regime. But I want you guys to consider things like a wall ball. An example of building local muscle endurance through drop sets with a wall ball might be that you take a wall ball, 30 pounds, to a 10-foot target, and you do 20 reps. Immediately on that 20th rep, as you hit the target, you already start to go down to pick up the 20-pound wall ball. So we've dropped in weight a bit, but now instead of 20 reps, we're gonna do 25. We continue for 25. And on that 25th rep, as it hits the target and the ball's on the way down, you're already picking up, yes, a lighter weight, a 14 or a 10-pound med ball, and then you're gonna go for a set of 30. The rule is all the reps have to be unbroken. After you finish that unbroken set, you're gonna rest as needed. A lot of times what people wanna do in the CrossFit space is get back to work too quickly, but again, the goal here is to accumulate a lot of volume as we descend in those weights. So if you go too soon, you're gonna need to rest. If you rest in the middle of the set, we're gonna lose that opportunity to create more of that lactate and pump those muscles full of blood to get the results that we're looking for. So consider that with wall balls, and guess what? A more devastating version, but even more results driven, is to do the same thing with thrusters. Instead of loading a 45 to get 135, load 3 15s on that thing. Go ahead and bang out a set of 15 to 20 reps, whatever you think is pretty challenging for you. Strip off 30 pounds. Hit 20 to 25 reps, strip off 30 pounds, then hit a set of 30 to finish. Again, try to keep the sets as big as possible. These things aren't just limited to wall balls and barbell movements, guys. The same thing can happen with gymnastics. Two key examples that I can think of are, and movements that often limit people, are something like a chest to bar pull-up. So maybe you start knowing that chest to bars is a weakness for you, and maybe the biggest set that you can get is 6, right? So let's say we start off with 6 chest to bar pull-ups. Then we might drop from the bar quickly, re-jump back up, and we go through a set of 10 to 12 regular kipping pull-ups. Still butterfly if you choose that route, but the goal is now we're only chin above the bar versus chest to bar. So it got easier, so you could go bigger and continue on. And then immediately after that, maybe you have a band set up beside you, and as we reach close to failure on those regular chin over the bar pull-ups, we then set our foot into a band and we bang out the biggest set that we can with band assistance. Yes, band assistance I'm talking. I'm telling people that can do bar muscle ups and ring muscle ups to go to a band and do more banded work. It's gonna be a great opportunity for you to train your body and your muscular system in a different way than we've been used to, right? Think variance is key when it comes to CrossFit and doing traditional Metcons. Well, variance is key even as we're training to improve on that variance that we're gonna be exposed to. The last example that I'll give you is one for handstand push-ups, which a lot of you guys need. So we'll start at the most difficult version. For a lot of you, it might be a deficit. So let's pretend that we're working on max reps at a 6-inch deficit, or maybe you leave 1 or 2 in the tank so we don't reach complete failure. We strip away the deficit, and then we're strict against the wall for another 10 to 12 reps if you've got it in you. And then from there, we bring ourselves to a box with our toes and or our knees on the edge with the piked position so that we're as inverted as possible, hands underneath the hips, and we're gonna do as many as we can until failure. Again, the goal is scale down each set or each movement so that you can continue to work for a bigger number of repetitions, or at least the same at minimum. The goal is it should burn. You should feel like you're much more limited by your ability to contract those muscles and show the movement versus you're breathing in your lungs. And then you guys are gonna build a whole new level of capacity as we enter into the 2019 season. So drop sets aren't just made for barbell curls and the good old fashioned bench press. You can apply them to the CrossFit as well.